welcome back to GenAI Live here at reInvent. I am one of your hosts, Rory Richardson. I'm a director of go-to-market for Q Developer. Been with AWS about 12 years, and I gotta tell you, this is my favorite technology I've worked on so far. And I'm here with my co-host, Brian. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Brian Terry. I'm a senior solution architect focusing on generative AI partners. And I'm super excited to be here today. And by the way, we are live. So if you have questions, please post them in the chat and we'll answer them live.
I am so glad you remembered that.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, we are here with our very special guest, Arvind, who is the CEO of Glean. And as we're talking about the future of generative AI and its practical application, Glean's one of those partners that is really top of mind, well, especially for me, because I work on Q.
Yeah.
So, Arvind, can you tell us a little bit about what Glean does?
Yeah, so think of Glean like Google or ChatGPT, but inside your company. Glean is a product that employees can go to and ask any questions that they have, and we use all of your internal company's data and knowledge to help you with those questions, provide you instant answers to your questions. So in some sense, you can think of it as that superset of ChatGPT Enterprise, a tool that's connected with all of the world's knowledge, as well as all of his internal private company knowledge, and then help people with that knowledge get answers, do work with AI on this platform.
Oh my gosh, you said some things that are very attractive, and you also said some things that were very, very scary.
I see.
So let's talk about the scary stuff first. Like, how do you maintain the governance and protect certain areas of information but give exposure to others? Because honestly, that's what I hear from customers all the time, that they're most afraid of.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's actually one of the core technology elements of Glean, is when we actually connect with all of your enterprise systems, to understand the knowledge inside of those systems. The other thing that we do is also figure out, the permission model and governance architecture of those applications. For any given document or ticket or conversation, who are the people who can actually access that information? And this is, built, into our technology at the very core. So when you come and ask questions in Glean, you have to be signed in with your enterprise identity. Glean knows who you are, and then it's only going to use the subset of that company knowledge and data that you have permissions for. And it's going to use that to then make AI work on it to actually produce answers back for you. So that's sort of one thing that we do. It's very important, it's difficult, and you have to sort of do this across hundreds of different enterprise applications, understand their governance model and architecture. But it actually goes even beyond that. Oftentimes, enterprises have a lot of data and knowledge, and they're not adequately protected it. Like in the world.
I'm shocked. You mean people don't set up identity and security properly within their organization?
A lot of content. Think about an enterprise. That's been running for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
A lot of these concepts didn't even exist about identity.
I was being sarcastic, by the way. I don't know if you could tell.
Of course. So you have to you have to actually get the enterprise to become AI ready. So that's actually one of the big things that we do, is actually also understand what information is actually not protected, with your access control mechanisms and governance, and make sure that in AI. The problem is that in the world before AI, nobody cared about this stuff. Nobody could find anything anyway. So even if there were these gaps in governance, it didn't matter. But now they become important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to actually ensure that any AI solutions that you deploy are able to actually understand people and their roles and what information they should really have access to. And so any gaps, you have to sort of actually cover for those in AI. So that's another thing that we do at Glean.
I like to tell people it's a lot like preparing your house for a caffeinated toddler.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
If they're particularly, determined, they're going to climb on stuff. If they're creative and they're determined,
absolutely,
that's what it feels like. Is because generative AI is iterative and it learns.
Absolutely.
And so if it tries one way, it doesn't make it, it's maybe trying a different way in order to access the information in order to move forward. So like the cleanup process, cleaning up your house before the toddler comes in, how long does that take customers to think through to make sure that they feel comfortable giving employees all of that access?
Well, just like house cleaning, this is not a process that you do one time. Like, you have to.
I don't know what you're talking about there either.
so of course, you have to keep doing it. And I think that's actually an interesting thing. Like, we've been working with some of the world's largest enterprises, and some of them have this mindset that, hey, look, I'm not deploying any AI technology right now. First, I'm going to actually clean my house, right? I'm going to actually protect content, secure it. And that approach actually doesn't work. Like, you have to, but it's just too hard. Like, you have, large enterprises have like more than 1 billion documents. Like, how are you going to actually go and figure this out? So this has to be all automatic, and it has to be real time. It has to always work. So our approach is that, well, it doesn't matter. You don't have to actually go and clean the house right now. You deploy Glean, and we will actually, do that cleaning in real time. Like, in the sense that, somebody comes and asks a question.
Ooh, it's the Glean clean.
Yeah. So exactly. So you have
That's your new marketing campaign, right there.
I love that, actually. I'm getting a lot of good ideas. But that's how it works. Like, let's say somebody asks a question. And we then we sort of look around, like, your entire all the enterprise systems. We figure out like interesting information that answers that question. But then we say, hey, wait a minute, like, this person, like, is a software developer, and somehow the information that they're trying to use has employee PII, and they don't have any business like knowing that information. So we're going to mask it in real time, and like not let the user use that information. So that's sort of one thing. Like, so when you have all these AI solutions, like Glean serves as this horizontal AI platform.
Yeah.
All AI access happens through this platform, and we can implement these controls there and bring safety. So. And while we discover that, hey, like, look, there was this sensitive document that only HR teams should have access to, but somehow this engineer had access to it.
Yeah.
We will also, do reporting back to our customers and say that, hey, look, we're finding these gaps. Go and clear them, but you can clear them, at your own pace. But we, while you're doing that, we're already making sure that the AI applications and agents that you're deploying are not exposing or leaking that information.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how much of a showstopper that has been in a lot of organizations, because they're paralyzed because their house was messy.
Yeah.
And they knew it, and so they were like, well, we just can't move forward. But being able to offer that path, super important.
Yeah.
And then if you layer on different permission systems within, especially larger or older organizations, because you've got some that were big fans of item level permissions in the database. Then you have some that are like, permissions exist at the API.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe it's a combination of the two, but it's messy. It's messy in real life.
Yes, messy house.
Yeah.
So how do you do that heterogeneous assessment of where the permissions should live? And then, because you've got to make some recommendations in order to say, all right, this is a first, second, third approach of how you're going to do this.
Yeah. Well, look, your enterprise data and knowledge is sitting across like hundreds or thousands of different systems. They're all in place already. You're not going to be replacing them, right? Each one of them has their own permission models, how they protect information, and you have to just understand that. So like when we provide a secure AI experience, that's the work that we've done over the last 6 years, is building those very deep integrations into each one of these enterprise systems. So just like, as an example, we connect with tools like Salesforce, Slack, ServiceNow, Workday, Confluence, Jira, SharePoint, OneDrive, Google Drive, right? All of these systems every one of those have their own unique permission model.
Yeah.
And you have to actually, integrate deeply with these systems to understand that. And that's how we then, make sure that when somebody comes and asks questions, in Glean AI Assistant, we're going to actually enforce those permissions correctly, because we understand, how permissions work. And so that's the approach that you have to take. So this is not about fixing anything. This is about just obeying, whatever governance rules that you have actually put in place. And then the other stuff that we talked about is above and beyond that, which is that when you see that you didn't protect something, well, AI will still protect it.
Totally. And you mentioned something that is also super important that I think a lot of folks don't necessarily understand, and it's the role of connectors.
Yeah.
In the world that existed 3 years ago, enterprise search. Because building AI on top of enterprise search, or in conjunction with enterprise search, is highly reliant on the quality of those connectors.
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, actually, if you think about search, the role of search is actually broadened in the enterprise. Like one, of course, like, search as a product on its own is very useful to every employee. Like, people spend a third of their time looking for information. So Glean makes that super easy for people. Like, one place, I don't have to remember anymore, like where to go and find things. I go to this one system, I ask questions, I get my answers. Right? And the hard work is done by the Glean search algorithms and the AI, together. But any other AI application that you're trying to build in the enterprise, like, for example, any, agents that you build on Q or any agents that you build on the Glean platform directly, all of them also rely on search as a core foundation, in that technology stack. Because look, all these language models that we're seeing, like, whether it's Claude or GPT or Gemini, like, these models are all trained on the world's knowledge. They don't know anything about your enterprise knowledge, right? So if you want the magic of these technologies to happen inside your enterprise, you have to bridge that gap. You have to actually connect your enterprise information with these models. And search is actually the core technology that actually serves as that glue. Like, it brings that technology for the models to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. You're preaching my favorite sermon here, because internet search is not the same as enterprise search, because what's popular on the internet is not the same as what's popular when we do a search on Amazon.
Of course not.
My favorite example of this is IDE. See, at Amazon, that's diversity, that's inclusion, diversity, and equality. In my head, and in my world, that's where you write code. It's very different. It's a context of, are we talking about my personal persona or my work persona?
That's a big part of, again, like, the way Glean works inside the enterprise is that, well, we talked a lot about connecting, to all of your enterprise information and data. But that's only step one. Understanding governance and permissions for safety, that's step two. But the real meat is in understanding this information, understanding your enterprise jargon, right? You mentioned, we have, in our company, we have something called LBLA, which stands for look back, look ahead. And it's like, I don't know who came up with that name, but that's basically we're referring to, this is basically our all hands or town hall. And you got to understand that. Like, so, if I look for, if I'm a new person, I'm looking for, like, the all hands meeting, you have to actually pick up this LBLA, thing, back, right? So understanding enterprise information and context, that's a big part of actually making AI work in the enterprise. And it's not just about information, it's about people, it's about connections between people and knowledge. What knowledge matters to what folks inside the company. All of those things have to be put together. So we build this very deep knowledge graph inside the enterprise. And then, when you come in and ask questions, we know who you are, and we're able to actually surface the right information back to you and make AI work on it.
Okay, because we've talked so much about search and discovery, let's talk a little bit about your partnership with AWS, because, obviously we're doing stuff with Q that clearly overlaps with what you're doing. How are you the plus one to the AWS experience, or what is that relationship like?
Well, so first, look, Glean is actually built, on AWS as one of our cloud partners, right? So the entire technology stack, we use all the different AWS technologies underneath, whether it is S3, whether it's, your RDS and other systems. We also use Bedrock heavily. We're not a large language model company, so our job is to actually make these models work for you in an easy way. So we also connect with Bedrock LLMs, like Claude, as the core reasoning and generation engine. And then, the way you can think of, the way Q and Glean can work together is, when you can deploy Glean in your AWS VPC, you can use Glean as the way to connect, your enterprise information into your, overall Bedrock agents and Q agents framework. And so now you can actually have an agent that you're building in Bedrock, use some of that enterprise content that comes through Glean, because we actually, act as a Bedrock knowledge source or an action agent that allows you to sort of both fetch information from those systems as well as you take actions inside those systems. And you can do it all, in the developer, platform that of your choice. If you want to actually develop, on top of Q, or if you want to develop, on top of our Glean agent builder, both options are available to you.
What sort of agents do people build?
Well, I mean, like, that list is, quite long. So I think let's talk about persona by persona. In engineering teams, we have our customers building code review agents or this, troubleshooting and debugging, agents. Like one of my favorite ones, is where engineers spend so much time like not writing code, and I hate that. Like, I want them to write, more technology. And so one of the places where they spend a lot of time is root cause analysis and debugging. Like, you're on call, the system is not working and alerts are firing, and you have to figure out why. And AI does a great job at that. So like, Glean, people have built these root cause analysis agents that they integrate right into your on-call dashboards. And they like most of the times they're able to actually match those issues with other issues and do root cause analysis. And so your work is done spending hours. You can just look at what happened and then move on, to the next alert. Then sales teams, they actually use, Glean quite creatively to build agents. There are agents that people have written to write follow-up emails to customers, to do 360 research on it. Like before you're going to have a meeting, can you get like a capsule of information, again pulled from all of your enterprise context so they can run that meeting effectively. So yeah, so many it's sort of like the most amazing thing, which I think is the true unlock, is that you don't have to be a developer anymore. Like you can be a business owner, and you're trying to actually do a certain task or process, and now you can actually just say that, hey, can I actually build this process? Like say it in English, and with our agent builder, it'll actually go and create an AI agent automatically for you based on that simple instruction that you gave in English. Connect to tools, bring data from them, do analysis on it. All that stuff can be done by non-developers.
I think it's a huge game changer for how you work. And I mean, I'm not a developer at Amazon, and I tell you, like that would be a game changer for me and like organizing my team and my day.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We sure appreciate hearing for like what Glean is doing on the cutting edge of how you're helping organizations become more efficient, more productive, and changing the world one agent at a time.
Thank you so much.
I love that.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, we're going to be right back. We're going to be talking with Avi from Acera. Look forward to hearing from you. Please type your questions into the chat. We'd love to incorporate some live action communication. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.